Hi guys, this is Athena, Divine Guidance Health and Wellness. And so I'm here to talk to you to give you some tips, tidbits, and suggestions on how to get through this pandemic. So yes, of course, I know you are at home and you're either working or you are just sitting there trying to figure out how to keep yourself busy. And so that's the biggest complaints that I've been getting here lately. And my suggestions are what I'm about to tell you. But also the biggest thing is just you got to be proactive. You know, this is stuff that we deal with during when it's snowing and that sort of thing. And then we tend to just eat because we're around the house. Well, we don't know how long we're going to be in our homes, and we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. So you're going to have to be proactive, period. That's just all it is to it. And so at the end of the day, you don't treat your day just like it's a snow day. You treat your day like a normal day. If you're working, you have your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and have all that done. And that's what you call meal prepping. And now that you're at home, you can't say, I don't have time. So again, being proactive is so important right now because nobody wants to come out here when you can come out, when we can get back to work, when the world gets back in order, and we've all gained 15 to 20 pounds, all because we thought we were in a snow day situation. So here are my tips. Well, first of all, with the exercise, and that's pretty much self-explanatory. You can do something at home, you can go outside. And speaking of outside, I've really been so impressed with seeing so many people, all different ages, all different sizes. They have been out there exercising. I think a lot of it is cabin fever too. But I've seen people out there doing jumping jacks, burpees, lunges, squats, on their bicycles, and it's looking like a family thing as well. So utilize that outside time. And you know, sometimes I think the way the universe works, that's just what makes us have to be put in these situations, and it just brings us back to our foundations and our core before there were gyms, before there were workout machines and things of that sort. So exercising, be creative, be proactive, most of all, be consistent. Because the more consistent you are, once we do get out of this, you'll be already set straight. So when it comes to being creative, what I'm saying is, like on a Monday, say, hey, I'm going to do a tape. Or on Tuesday, I'm going to use some of my canned food. Hopefully it's canned tomatoes. And, you know, lift weights with it. You know, do lunges with it. You know, or you utilize your trainers who are doing virtual workouts. Utilize them. And so that's something that you can do. And maybe on Wednesday you can, you know, do a Zumba tape or something. So just be creative and active on being active. You know, of course, if you're working, you need to work. But in between your breaks and that stuff, go outside, walk, do something, come back, eat your already pre-made lunch. So the next thing I want to move on to is food, since I said lunch. And so when it comes to eating, you always just want to be prepared. And that's all it is to it. And that's what I preach. Prepare, 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 meal prep, meal prep. And you have to make it exciting for yourself. Now, if you're that type of person that can eat the same thing over and over again, boom, you can fix a big pot or whatever and you're good. Now, me on the other hand, I can't. Every day I want something different. So that's why I mix up my meats and all that sort of stuff. So once you do that, then you can be in more order, because the thing is just having consistency and being in order. And so I had gotten this paper in the mail, two of them actually, and they're called Carolina's Food, and it's like a newspaper, a little weekly newspaper, I think. And one of the things that caught my eye was what to stock and cook during your quarantine. Well, that's a great thing to say. So to me, that's kind of self-explanatory, but they talked about, in short, just doing, you know, getting your meats like your lean ground beef, your lean turkey, your chicken, you know, stuff that will freeze, and you can just kind of eat on that during this time, and it'll be more cost effective for you and your family. Second thing is frozen vegetables. Get your frozen vegetables. They are perfect. They can be anything. You can even get frozen beans and make, you know, your old school corn and bean succotash with some okra in it, you know, something like that. And so utilize those frozen vegetables, which are better than canned because they're not salted. They're just straight from the ground up to your table, to the freezer, or to the freezer to your table, whichever one is going to happen. And so I always advocate frozen vegetables. Next thing, they talk about pantry stuff. And also, I'm a huge advocate of spices. You got to have plenty of spices because salt is not a spice. it's an enhancer in my book. So when I'm talking spices, I'm talking about smoked paprika. I'm talking about all that good stuff. Then you also want to think about in the pantry, you want to keep, you know, things like tomatoes, so you can make your own tomato sauce, or because if you do buy the tomato sauce, be very careful about the sugar content and how much salt is in it. That's why I make my own, because I can control what's in it. And then you also want to think about things like black beans, in case you don't want to really deal with dried beans, because they don't have black beans in the freezer section that I've ever seen. And so when I talk about beans and things of that sort, or vegetables, if you're just intent on having them, then please, when you dump them out, rinse them off. You can add a broth to them. You can do chicken broth, vegetable broth, beef broth. You can add that back into the beans while you're cooking them, or the vegetable, and then add your spices while that's cooking. And then that way you're not ingesting all of that salt. If you do by chance still feel like you need a little salt, I suggest kosher salt, because kosher salt is a flaky salt and you don't have to use too much of it. So that's what I have to say on that. Now, at the end of the day, it's really up to you. You have to be the one that makes the difference in your life during this time. Yes, we're in a pandemic, but we're not in a eating pandemic. The food's not going nowhere. It's still going to be here. We're not stuck in snow and have the chance of electricity going out, so you feel like you got to eat up everything. Just stop, pause, and relax. Nothing has changed other than the fact the environment and the situation has changed. But you still can stay on your health and wellness journey if you stay diligent and consistent and be proactive. If you know you're a snacker, get some healthy snacks. For me, I do all kinds of stuff. And you just have to be proactive about it. Use Pinterest, people. Pinterest, Pinterest, Pinterest. Use it. It's very helpful. So these are my tips and tidbits for today. I hope they're helpful. And thank you again, Divine Goddess Athena. And you are listening to the Health and Wellness Corner. Bye.